All right, you freak nasties. We have something a little special today. We have very special valves that are anti-clog. Sealant will not clog these valves. And we're gonna put them on my new ultra rare Niner titanium bike that they don't even know that they make. And the reason I'm putting them on is both of these wheels actually had one. This one's got one in it right there. And you can tell because you can't screw this down. It's just a big plunger. And see, this plunger on the underside is the valve instead of being in the body. So it's like way wider so it doesn't clog and get gunked up with sealant and do slow leaks and all this other stuff. This hole from here, from the red up, is just hollow with this very thin piece of metal right here. And you can just tap that and let air out. You don't unscrew it at the top. And this wheel got a couple of broken spokes in it from all the power that was being put out, apparently. And when I took it in to get the spokes done, they took this out and put in a regular valve. And I don't think that they knew what these are. I don't think they knew what these were. These are $50 to $60, but they're worth it. They will never leak. It changes your life. And the reason I'm posting this video is this is such a cool thing to put on your bike that every ride makes a difference. And these are called Fillmore, and they're made by Reserve Wheels, and it's F-I-L-L, more, kind of like fill up more, like fill up a tank more, but instead of P-H, it's F-I-L-L. And you can tell it goes in about like that. And then the plunger, the radius, the circumference, I should say, on the plunger is so much bigger than what's in the body that when you multiply that by the volume, the edge, that's the space, by that big circle, it just lets a massive amount of air through. And then the other thing that it does is you don't have to, if you want to blast a tire on, which we've got our tire blaster here, then you don't need to take the valve core out. It'll just shoot air in fast enough where it'll blast the tire on the rim. And then also, we're doing 2-in-1. This tire and wheel is off my old bike, and it's only a 42 millimeter. And the tire that we're gonna put on this new top secret Niner titanium bike has clearance for a 50 in the back we're gonna put in. Well, it says it does. Sorry the bike's all dusty. I'm a real athlete and I actually ride my bike. And this is a Terra Continental with black chili compound, kind of like the GP 5000s. Terra hard pack, and its tread is almost smooth in the center and a little bit on the edges. So it's a really great gravel bike tire. And I'm finally gonna upgrade to a 50 in the back, up from a 42. You can see all that room right there. So we'll see. All right, hold on, let's see what happens. Oh, and unlike the quick release on my old bike, this one's gonna take a Allen wrench set. I think it's a Crank Brothers. Oh, Blackburn, but also dog tags. Zoe, River. He's a good boy. Oh. Okay, we got to take this wheel off. Be right back. One of the first things you do is you put this in the smallest cog in the back, and that gives the chain a lot of slack. So we're going to go ahead and do that now. I know it's on the other side, and that'll make the tire easier to take off. There we go. Okay, and now we're going to try to take it off. So you can tell with these old style valve cores, it's just leaking because it's gummed up already. And then when you try to pump it up, it's got difficulty and stuff. The reason they're so thin is because in the 70s, 80s, and 90s or whatever, the rims were so thin. And that's not a need anymore. In fact, a lot of people are going back to Schrader valves. And because, yeah, they were thin to fit the thin rims, and it's just not necessary anymore. Okay, we got a little bit of sealant bubbling through, and we'll be right back. Oh, and by the way, we're going to use, if we don't use the old sealant that's in there, we're going to use Silka Ultimate Sealant, which is the best stuff ever. Get you some. All right, as you can see, there's some old sealant in it. I'm going to suck it up with this nasty ass tire injector thing that's got hair on it from him and her. So we're not going to do a zoom in on that. I think it's nasty, but it still works. We're going to try to reuse some of this old sealant and get it out of this tire and put it into the new tire, and we'll be back. All right, we have the old tire valve out, and also a trick. We'll see if it works this time. It's worked for me most of the time. If you're swapping out tires or doing whatever, and the inside of the tire and the bead and everything is still wet with sealant, that's actually a good thing. That'll actually help it seal better. And you don't have to go through all the rigmarole of like cleaning the rim and everything, because the sealant, as it's liquidish and still kind of drying up, acts as kind of like a glue. It's trying to dry and seal right now. So if we put the tire, a new tire on and some sealant, and then blast the tire on, then it most likely will hold air. And we put sealant in and then spin the tire around, and then the sealant inside of it will close any gaps. So let's give that a try. And a couple of quick pro tips is you put your valve where the logos are on the tire, and that helps you find the valve faster. In a pinch, like you're in a race and you're spinning around your tire. Oh, where's the freaking valve? You know, and then it's funny how hard it is to find it sometimes. But if you put it with the logo of your tires, that's actually really pro. And then the other thing is, I got this tire yesterday, so I unfolded it and hung it up completely open overnight, just because it was, I knew I wasn't going to work on it till today. And that helps it get all the kinks out of the bead and stuff like that. Somewhat. It's just a good thing to do. All right, and now we're going to move over off the carpet so we don't it won't stain the carpet, but it's just not good for the carpet. That's the orange seal that I managed to pull out of the old tire first, so I don't waste it. And then I'm adding some of the Silka sealant, and that should probably do it. That's plenty. And it's perfectly fine for people to blend sealants. People do it all the time. If you want the properties of both, two completely different types of sealants, people mix them. It's a thing. All right, let's try to get the bead on the rest of the way and then blast this tire on. All right, we've got the blaster pump all pressurized, and you just flip this lever, and I'm holding this on here, and also you hold it a little bit off the ground. And what that does, you can see a little bit of sealant spilling out right there, is if you have it flat on the ground, it might create gaps. And let's just go ahead and do it. I'm gonna flip it live and we'll see. Bam, popped on. Did you hear that? Okay. And it's finishing up. Now it's 150 PSI in this thing, but in here it's probably, it feels like about 60 PSI, which is it's fine. That's air coming out of this thing, the leftover air. And that was it. I did not have to, let's get some better light here. I did not have to remove the valve core because there is no valve core to remove. Fillmore, send your sponsorship dollars to me. And this was on a dirty rim. So this is a really good example of how well this stuff works out in the field. You know, a lot of times people can't seat a tire on the tire bead without cleaning it first and all that other stuff. But that trick I showed you where you make sure you get sealant all over the bead. And then if it was leaking a little bit somewhere, you spin the tire around on its side, on its edges, and spin it slowly so sealant works its way into the thing right there. And then eventually it'll seal up. So I think we got a finished product here, and we'll put it on. Oh, so next we're gonna see if it actually fits inside the frame of 50 millimeter, which is the max tire clearance on Niner's top secret titanium bike. Okay, here we go. All right, we got it done. I'm gonna show the pieces here in a second. River's inspecting. River, hey. He's our big black German Shepherd, mostly. Vive will ask the questions, and he's inspecting everything over here. And yeah, so see the valve is lined up with the tire decal, the tire name, so it'll be easy to find. And then look at this clearance. I don't know if can I get the camera in there? It doesn't look like as much as it actually is. It's a lot of clear. It's several millimeters on each side. God, it doesn't look like it on camera, but I can't get the camera in there to show you. It's about this much on either side, right there. Yeah, just maybe a touch smaller than that on either side, which is nice. About like that, just less than a pinky. And look at that clearance there, clearance there. Yeah. That's freaking cool. And then the other thing, like I said, if I want to add more sealant in with the syringe or whatever, I can put it right in through this. I don't need to remove this. The amount of air that this and sealant that this valve allows through is unbelievable. And again, they're Fillmore valves. Huge shout out to them. For example, Kai was getting, and myself too, before I switched to these, you get a ride where your tires just like slowly leaking air and you know, and whatever. And then you try to pump up the tires and the pump's kind of difficult. These solve that forever. It's one of the best investments you can make on your bike, because like Kai, I remember one time we were riding and by the end of the ride, he had almost a flat tire, and it doesn't just gum it up, and make it difficult to pump up, but it doesn't allow the plunger to seal completely, and you'll get a slow leak in here. And then my last pro tip is if you don't use these, but these seal all the time. And the last thing is, if you got a leak and you're not sure where it's coming from, you can fill up a bathtub, you know, just above the rim level with water, and then go to the bathtub and spin the wheel slowly underwater, and you will see where air is coming out of a puncture, of a rim hole, you know, of the valve, something like that. All right, dog tax. Zoe. Oh, she's mad now. What are you doing? It's a good one. There's Zoe. Yeah, we had a good time. But anyway, this is proof how with a blaster pump, sometimes you don't even need that if you're really good at it. You just need a good pump. But a blaster pump's nice, and it's where you pressurize it first, and then you throw this valve, and it just dumps all the air and blasts it on. And then a syringe, and this one's from Stan's. That's nasty. And then some sealant, and you can even reuse some of the old sealant from your old tire. And the fact that I was able to do it on a dirty rim without all kinds of prep and everything, if you use that trick that I showed you of get the rim bead, get sealant on the rim bead and on the rim hook, and then also on the bead of the tire, and that will definitely help it stay on. This bike is dirty, and I was able to do that, blast the tire on. Okay, all right, have fun.